Welcome to it, sports fans. It is the MKT Show. He is Gareth Cliff. I am MKT. Welcome to it. Great day. Great day in the sporting world. It's so good to have football back properly. Cannot believe it's an international break again. When is that? Next week. Are you, man? What? What? Awful. Awful. But anyway, at least we've got Premier League this weekend. We've got full football calendar this weekend. La Liga, Serie A, whichever you prefer. But I think you hate to hop on about it, but the story of the week so far: Man United losing to a team I didn't even know existed. To be quite frank, I thought Man United had pulled out of the regular season, and they'd started their preseason for next year. After this is an Istanbul team who have Demba Ba up front, a 35-year-old Demba Ba. Wow. Martin Skrtel, if you're a Liverpool fan, throwback. That was a wild experience. I don't care how much you are a United diehard. That must have been a bitter pill to swallow. That first goal was wow. So we'll talk United, what that means yesterday, and then I'll talk about Pochettino and what I would do if I were him following reported approaches by United. Remember to push that one, or if you dislike the content, push that one, because I don't think I should be telling people what to like or dislike. So do whatever you want. By the way, at Cliff Central Sport all across the board. And it's Cliff C Sport on Twitter. Otherwise, I am MKT Inspires on every single platform, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it may be. Hey, let's get into it. 8 o'clock. It's that time. So here's the thing about people. People are who they are. Right? If you meet somebody and you meet them at a nightclub on a Sunday, and they, had one too many, and it's sort of 7 o'clock on a Sunday, and it's a working day, say, hey, take your number. You meet up the next day, start dating, meet them for a coffee. Now they're in the work mode. I don't want to hear it 3 months into it that my girlfriend or boyfriend's too wild, because that's where you met them. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. I'm so tired of sympathizing with friends. Like, oh, I thought I'd be able to change him. I thought I'd be able to change her. Listen, after 18, I don't want to hear it. You are who you are. People are who they are. Accept that, people. Stop trying to change people. If you accept people, we're all flawed. If you get into a relationship with somebody, they are who they are. Listen, don't try to change them. And by the way, if you're going to change for you, not the other person. Because that's tough. You might break up with that person, then you got to change again. Become a chameleon? It's just too stressful. But the ultimate thing is, people are who they are. Do not hate somebody for being who they are. That's unacceptable. If somebody's loud, do not get in a relationship with them and be surprised that when you go to social occasions, she takes over the room. Oh, I wish he'd attract less attention. I don't want to hear it. People are who they are. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has shown you from the beginning that he was never in the business of winning at the serious end. He had his chance at Cardiff to show, hey, maybe we can go to the next level. And they just got some investment, by the way. So it wasn't like Cardiff had a rinky-dink team. Mid-table championship. They said, Ollie, you got to go. It ain't going to work. People are who they are. There is no way Manchester United, there is absolutely no way, if Manchester United took themselves seriously, Ollie was any different from Ryan Giggs getting the full job. But when you get Ollie, this is what you get. Mid-table, give or take. Mid-table, give or take. Listen, and I'm seeing these comparisons of, oh, what about Ollie's first 100 games? But it's better than Klopp, and it's better than whoever else, and Jose, and I think Jose was maybe better, but Ollie's got the third best record of active managers in his first 100 games. Listen, yeah, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. People are who they are. I think it's absolutely ridiculous to compare Jurgen Klopp, who had already dethroned a generational Bayern Munich era with Frank Ribery, Robben, Van Bommel. That was a dynasty that went on to win the Champions League in that era, just with Jupp Heynckes. Twice he dethroned that team. So won the league twice, went to a Champions League final. Ian Robben slotting that goal to deny him. I believe it was 2-1 in that final. So this is a man who said, you knew with Klopp at the sharp end, no worries. Been to big games, maybe bridesmaid one too many times, but I've won the Bundesliga. Don't tell me about Mulder. Ollie, when he had his chance, failed in the big time. That's point number one. And to compare him to Frank Lampard is foolish as well. By the way, he had already been in management, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for 6 years, right? Before getting the Cardiff job. So that's including his assistant role. Mulder, 2010, that kind of started. 2014, he gets the Cardiff job, and well, the rest is history. So don't tell me about Ollie being compared to Lampard. Lampard in his first season with Derby, top 6 position, could have got promotion to the Premier League. That's in his first season in a far more competitive championship. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't fall into this trap. And I know if you're a United fan, the narrative suits, oh, look at his first 100 games. Let me tell you what happened. Something called COVID happened. Folks, let me tell you something. People are who they are. Let's start here. Man United fans, let me just tell you something. In the last 7 seasons, you have spent 4 seasons outside of the top 4, right? And in reality, I just want to break this news last year. Had it not been for COVID, United come 6th to 8th. Tell you what, Martial is injury prone. You don't have to like what I'm saying. Go and look at the numbers. Rashford is injury prone. You know there's an injury coming this season. Had it not been for COVID, they don't come back. Leicester and Chelsea are 3rd and 4th. Leicester were rolling. Man United got, you remember Rashford had that back injury. That was over. It was over. That extra time gave Martial that time not to be injured, to be fit the whole season. Chelsea were rolling. Leicester were rolling. So last year wasn't really a proper representation of Man United. Last year was really an outside top 4 performance. Please don't let the COVID season fool you. You were not a top 4 team. But if you want to say, okay, no excuses, everybody had the same problems in COVID. Okay, let's take the last 7 seasons. 4 out of the last 7 seasons, Man United teams outside of the top 4 with this team. And by the way, breaking world records for centre backs, for Paul Pogba, 50 million here. You're buying everybody. There's no excuses. You got De Gea, you're getting Lindelof, you're getting Shaw. This is with everyone that's there now. So there's no excuses. Well, this is with Chelsea getting a transfer ban. This was Man City in that time, by the way, have lost a great manager, lost a great player, lost their best captain of all time, lost their best number 10 of all time in David Silva, possibly the greatest number 10. In fact, I believe the greatest number 10 the Premier League's ever seen. Vincent Kompany, top 5 centre-backs. He's gone. They've lost him. Kun Aguero's been more injured. So in the last 7 seasons, Man United fans must realize who Man United are is not last season. Get that out of your head. Because last season, you really should have been outside the top 4. 4 out of the last 7 seasons, Man United have been outside of the top 4. That's who you really are. Listen, I'm biased to the stats. Stop telling me what you think. This is not a top 4 team. And stop blaming the managers. It's clearly not the managers. Because it was Moyes' fault. Right? Oh, no, it's not Moyes' fault. It's Van Gaal's fault. Oh, no, wait. It's not Van Gaal's fault. It's Mourinho's fault. Oh, no, wait. It's Ollie's fault. It's not Ollie's fault. You got the same players. What's the common denominator? It's the same players. It's what? De Gea. Now it's Maguire. It's Pogba. It's the players. It's Mata. Please. It's Shaw. These managers come and go. You can do that all you want. When you got no character in the dressing room. You got no leaders in the dressing room. It's not the managers. It's not the managers. But I've told you this before. The most important person at a football club is not the owner, it's not the manager, it's not anybody else, it's the captain. Man United haven't had a captain since Vidic left. So it's not the manager. Honestly, you could have Pep Guardiola at Man United right now. This is not a top 4 team. So I just want to address that. You're not a top 4 team. Don't let last year fool you. Look at the last 7 seasons. Analyze the stats that way. More than 50% of the last 7 seasons since Fergie left, you have been outside of the top 4. Last season, it was just because of COVID. You recovered. Leicester bombed. Chelsea really should have run away with it. And I believe had things carried on, Martial was injured, Rashford was injured, that wouldn't have happened. Rashford had a season-ending back injury. So 5 out of the last 7 seasons, really, you've been out of the top 4. The numbers say 4 seasons, but it's 5. Last season, United were not a top 4 team. Here's what I would do if I'm Man United. Do not fire Oli. And I'm not just saying that because I'm enjoying it. Play the youngsters now. Play the youngsters. You got to keep Pogba around, keep Pogba happy because you need to sell him and you probably need to get somewhere between 50 and 70. You're not getting 90 mil for Pogba. Forget it. Not in the COVID market and probably not even in a regular market and not even from PSG, quite frankly. He's injury prone and now it's been exposed is he's a nice complementary piece. So when you have Vidal, when you have Marquisio, when you have Andrea Pirlo, good stuff. He's your guy. When you have Sissoko, when you have Conte, when you have Matuidi, put Pogba in there. When people can babysit him, great. So complementary piece, not main piece. People can see it now. He's been exposed. It's 2 places now. France and now Man United and the injuries. People aren't stupid. You can have all the Instagram followers you like. Listen, you can have all the Instagram followers you like. It's clear now. And by the way, it's not an anti-United. It's not an ABU thing. It's the book's out on Pogba now. It's his 5th season into his United. So he's into his 5th season. He still has not completed a whole season, by the way, in the 4 seasons he's been here. Go look it up. Guys play 30 games in the season back-to-back at all. So he's injury prone. Like, he loves an injury. And already this season, well, I got injuries and I got COVID and I got this and I got that and I got the media and I got to deal with that. Get out of here. But what I would do if I'm Oli or if I'm Man United, stability now. You tell Oli, this is your last season, but we do the United way. Play the youngsters. Play McTominay. You invest in Fred. You can't get out of that now. Play the youngsters. Play Daniel James. Bring in the youngsters. Don't know what you're doing with Cavani. Play the youngsters. And play them to the wire, by the way. This is a development season. This team's not making top 4. We're not going to have a COVID break this year. Leicester are clearly better. Everton are clearly better. United get into the top 6. They are lucky. It's not about talent. It's not about talent. But this season, if you're Man United, be smart. It's okay for businesses, which Man United is. It is okay for businesses to say, this is not our year. But what we can do is stabilize. You've made too many mistakes now. A mentor of mine has a great saying. She says, I don't mind if people make mistakes. And Warren Buffett kind of has this, but she says, I don't mind if people make mistakes. But when you've made a mistake, the worst thing you can do, once you make a mistake, and I think this is great advice, and it's helped me a lot in my life. Once she said it to me a couple of years ago. When you make a mistake, the only thing you cannot do is that your next move compounds that mistake. So you make it worse. You make that mistake worse. No, that you cannot afford to do. Is you stay in the same place at least, take some time to analyze. So if you're United, listen, Oli, it's your last season. It's been awesome. Thank you for stabilizing. You've brought back the United way. Play the kids. The season's over. You're not making top 4. That's a mess. Because you've seen what Oli is now. People are who they are. It's very, very easy, folks, in the honeymoon phase. It's very, very easy to get up when it's the big game, right? When it's the birthday, you remember your wife's birthday, your anniversary. But how do you treat your wife when you're feeling sick and it's your anniversary on a Wednesday afternoon? What are you doing then? Because that's kind of horrible. It's raining, I'm sick, my boss is horrible. How do you treat your wife then? The hard times is what you need. You need character. So for Oli, it's always great when there's no pressure. So it's great when there's no pressure. He's done it. He's showed you that he can perform. 21 in a row. My God, Oli the savior. And then what happened? Big teams, no problem. Gets up for it. The top 4 teams. But Crystal Palace at home, that's an attitude thing. They didn't lose to Palace because of talent. It wasn't because of the preseason. Don't stop giving me that. There's a way to lose. That was an effort thing. Sorry. But if I'm United, I don't sack him now. It's pointless now. We don't have a top 4 team, and nobody's selling anyone who's an upgrade in January. You're not going to get 60 million, 70 million, 80 million for Pogba in January. You cannot replace in January. Stay in the same place for now. Stabilize, take top 6 or 8. But what you do is by January, you're clear on who needs to leave, who needs to come in. Because United now need to bring the whole war chest for next season. Do not fire Ollie. It would be the biggest mistake that you could ever make. This is not the time to panic, people. A great mentor of mine, it's such a great way to look at life. When everybody makes mistakes, you know what smart people do? Is if you've made a mistake, pivot quickly. And that pivot is, okay, Ollie, this is stabilizing the rest of the season. Listen, it's a free hit from here. Don't worry about the results, but play the youngsters. We need to see what we got in-house, and we need to see who needs to go. Because we kind of know who's got to go. That Maguire thing's not working, or Lindelof's got to go. We've got an Ivorian centre-back who we don't love because he never pitches up for training. He's really more in the injury room than he is on the field. All right, so the deadwood must go. It's got to go. Stability is everything in crisis. You know, when you're in crisis, isn't it funny how you know your friends, who to call? Like if you're in trouble, if you crash your car, late night, coming back from work, it's been a late night, you know, people are tired. Sometimes you ding your car. I bet everybody listening or watching this knows 3 numbers they would call. Why? Stability. You know there's going to be people. Oh, there's crisis. Let's calm down. Nothing is insurmountable. Or you get those other friends who, when in crisis, you wouldn't call them if your leg was getting chopped off, because you know all they're going to do is, oh my goodness, I can't believe your leg's getting chopped off. Hey, I need anesthetic. Oh, I can't believe it's so gruesome. Do you want to? And then they get their phone out to show you how much pain you're in. Don't you have, like, those are not the people you need right now. Woodward, Man United. It hasn't worked for 5 years. It's clearly not the coaches. It's clearly the players. Now pivot the strategy. Ollie, settle down. The rest of the season's a free hit. And we will know by January who needs to leave, who needs to come in. So that when June comes, we've identified everybody. We buy everyone before the World Cup, by the way. I don't want to hear Man United negotiating during the World Cup. Players have to come back from Qatar. This is the time for the board to step up. And Ed Woodward now, hot seat. From a footballing perspective, hot seat now. Because I don't want to hear World Cup and people are negotiating and there's secret medicals. David Gill, would never happen under him. You'd have every contract signed. Last day, United should announce 4 signings. I don't want to see when they hold up the shirt, the presentation. Let's not have it. Clinical, United, we bully everybody. Whoever Real Madrid want, bully them out of it. United need to come back next season. It's absolute madness. And it's not unexpected, by the way. We've seen it with Ollie. This is limitations. Because you don't have to inspire people when you're playing PSG, by the way, or Chelsea, or Tottenham. Right? You don't have to. I tell you when you need to inspire your players. When you're playing Crystal Palace, Istanbul, that's when you need to inspire your players. Ollie's not it. The United way, if that is the United way, sickening. But for me, don't fire him, settle down. All right, before, we'll finish off on a very interesting article I read today. But I'll read 1 or 2 comments. Mark Francis says, as a Liverpool fan and an EPL fan, I feel sad for United. He says, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, listen, United, take your licks. You had it good for 27 years. It's over now. Mark says, just made popcorn. I am loving the stand-up comedy today. Hey, it is what it is. If you're a United fan, take your licks. It's over. The dynasty's over. And by the way, this happens all the time. Don't feel bad. It happened to Nokia. It happened to Kodak. It happened to Microsoft. They got comfortable. Apple came along. Here they are. It happens. Big companies, we are always the last, by the way, in life. Hey, we know this only too well. We're all always the last to see our downfall. Like people tell you, oh, you're gaining a little weight. You're the last to see it. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, I still got that stomach. I still got my 25-year-old stomach. No, you don't. No, you don't. Largesse, it happens. It happened to the Roman Empire. Go and read the history. Don't want to bore you with it. Listen, I want to. I read that Man United made a bid or unofficially approached Pochettino today. They unofficially approached Pochettino today. So listen, I said a little bit earlier. If you meet your girlfriend at the nightclub or boyfriend at the nightclub, I don't want to hear that on a Wednesday you're now angry that they're getting erratic and drinking during the week. I don't want to hear it. Because I got a couple of friends like this. Like you met your boyfriend, friend of mine. Like she just can't stop going on about how wild her new partner is. Like you met him at a pub on a Sunday. Like, what do you think he's doing at a pub on a Sunday? What did you think? What type of person did you think he was? Listen, don't get angry at people for who they are. But this is important for Pochettino. Because apparently Pochettino has been approached by Man United. If I'm him, no chance I'm taking the United job now. Because there's a rule, right? And it's not necessarily in black and white. But once again, a mentor of mine, she says, you get 3 moves, career-limiting moves in your life. That's her rule. You get 3 career-limiting moves in your life. Pochettino's already had 1. Let me tell you how I know that Tottenham was a black mark on his name. Because Pochettino complained about no money. No sooner had Pochettino left the door, it seems as though Tottenham went and found all the money in the world. Listen, the corporate world has a language. It's called money. All right? It's called money. If they believe in you, you know what the corporate world will do? They will move hell and earth, number one, to keep you, because top talent is always being recruited. But not only will they do that, they will pay you over market value to stay. If they believe in you. Corporate language is called money. Let me tell you what Daniel Levy was saying. He said, you know what, Pochettino, we like you as a girlfriend, but we don't want to marry you. We don't want to marry you. Right? Because if you want to marry somebody, what do? You're going to look for a ring for 3 months, sweaty palms a little bit, say you double mortgage the house, second mortgage, and you get the ring of your dreams, and you find the moment, and you put the ring on it. But Tottenham said, we kind of seen what you are. We had Harry Redknapp. He took us top 4. We didn't need you. You're not taking us to the next level. That's what happened. Because Mourinho's here now, and how much has Tottenham spent? All of a sudden, Tottenham found the money. Yeah, sure. Listen, Daniel Levy, hey, he's the guy. If I'm Pochettino, there's no way I'm taking the United job now. Because you've already had one of your 3 career-limiting moves. But there's something else at play. If I'm Pochettino, I wait till the end of the season, because 3 or 4 of the biggest jobs in Europe may very well be available at the end of the year. Real Madrid, not looking great. Zidane, listen, they love you, but you know the great saying is, they will tolerate you until they can replace you. I don't care that you're Zinedine Zidane. Florentino Perez has shown he does not care. Look at the way he got rid of Iker Casillas. Iker Casillas, they arguably outside of, Di Stefano, Raul, Iker Casillas. And now I think Sergio Ramos is joining that sort of echelon. Iker Casillas didn't even get a memorial game. Florentino Perez picked Jose Mourinho over Iker Casillas. Saint Iker, they call him at the Bernabeu. Saint Iker. That is the name of the man who they created, Spain's greatest ever goalkeeper, Spain's greatest ever captain. Right? Iker Casillas. At Real Madrid, they said, get the hell out of the back door. We don't even care about you. They're possibly their greatest player of all time. No loyalty at Real Madrid. Zinedine Zidane's not even Spanish. As much as he was at Real Madrid great, they don't care about him. If they didn't care about one of their very own, Casillas is one of their very own. They bought him as a child. And they said, get the hell out. And you're not even getting a testimonial. And they still haven't had a testimonial. By the way, he still hasn't been back to Real Madrid to even be seen by his own fans. Hey, listen, good luck to him with the recovery from a second heart attack. So you think Zidane is going to get any loyalty from Florentino, one of the most cold-blooded men on this planet, in Florentino Perez? No, sir. The Barcelona job. Listen, I love Ronald Koeman. I think Barcelona are on the right track. But don't you dare think. Plus, by the way, remember Pochettino, although he's part of the enemy, because he's an Espanyol guy, by the way. If you don't know the Catalan rivalry there, go and look up Espanyol Barcelona derby. That's, been there to watch it. It is feverish. Been at that game at the No Camp, that is feverish stuff. But he understands the Catalan way. The Koeman things, I don't know if Messi wants to have another season like this. If it's going like this until the end of the season, Koeman's going to have to go because Messi's already got rid of the board. You best believe Carles Puyol, expect some Valdez, expect Xavi. People like that are going to start coming back to the club because Leo Messi's not having his last 2 seasons with people that don't understand what he needs. Expect Xavi, expect Iniesta, expect Carlos Puyol, expect some of these people, expect maybe even Rijkaard to start coming back into the boardroom to run things the way Leo Messi, because Leo Messi's in charge now. He got rid of the board. He won the power battle. So what I do if I'm Poch, by the way, Argentine connection. Don't forget that. The Argentine connection is real. Do not forget that. That Argentine connection is real. If I'm Pochettino, I wait. The Koeman thing, I sit out the season. United are not a top 4 club. Forget that. You don't want that mess. You've already had one career-limiting move. Barcelona, that's the job. That's the ultimate job. Real Madrid. I mean, is there a better job for a Spanish guy? I know, Catalan, Real Madrid rivalry, forget it. Listen, Luis Enrique made the move from Real Madrid to Barcelona. Of course, the devil's move. What did he do? He managed Barcelona. There's no loyalty in football. Forget about that. Stop romanticizing things. Steven Gerrard should have come to Chelsea, would have won titles. Stop being a romantic. It's a business. It's a business and a legacy sport. It's a machismo sport. And by the way, they'll pay you 10 million euros a year at Real Madrid. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that I'm from Espanyol and Catalan and blah, blah. Hey, wait for that job. That's the ultimate job. But I tell you what else is an interesting job. Mia San Mia. Listen, in Munich, Hansi Flick is onto a good thing. And I know people think dynasties last forever. They don't. Dynasties are too fractious. It's too difficult to make them last more than 2 or 3 years. By the way, Hansi Flick, right, cannot do better than last season. I believe this will be Hansi's last season. No matter what happens, leave at the top. Bayern Munich is a dream job. You are the king of Germany. It's top 3, always a top 3, top 5 in terms of the financial side. There is no downside to being the Bayern Munich manager, and that's going to be available at the end of the season. I believe Hansi Flick, smart guy, he'll realize he'll probably take a technical post, take a year off, come back, be an ambassador for. What more can Hansi Flick do? He's done a Jupp Heynckes. Leave at the top. Hansi Flick can now go and enjoy his honeymoon, and he is a hero in Bavaria for life. That Bayern Munich job is going to be available this season. Tell me a better football job than Bayern Munich on this planet. Very little local pressure. You're always going to win the league. Pochettino, what's he always been accused of? Listen, Real Madrid, Barcelona, that's tough. You don't know which is going to win the league over the next 5 years. That's a tough place to go. And if Pochettino at his next job does not win, people are going to give him the side eye. Yeah, you're more hot air than anything else, mate. Right? If he goes to Real Madrid, if he goes to Barcelona, there's no guarantee now. And by the way, La Liga is no longer a 2-league club because whatever Atletico Madrid done, they are now at the Metropolitan Stadium. That's a massive stadium. The revenues are up. João Felix, 108 million. So now Atletico Madrid are a real competition team. It's no longer a 2-league team or a 2-team league. So if I'm Pochettino, there is no better job. Get that monkey off your back. Go to Bayern Munich, still a young manager. Go to Bayern Munich for 5 years. You've got all the resources in the world. Listen, you build a relationship with the most influential man, I believe, in world football. There's a man, go and look him up. His name is Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. Everybody in European football listens to Karl-Heinz. He is the Angela Merkel of football. He sets the temperature in the room for all negotiations. The Super League idea, his idea. Every idea you hear of European clubs, and whenever UEFA thinks it's bigger than it is, you always hear Bayern Munich coming out. It's because Karl-Heinz Rummenigge is a son of a gun. Build that relationship with him, because you're good with him, you're good with Europe. That's what I'd do if I'm Pochettino. Honestly, I would wait until the end of the season. Hansi Flick will be out. I'd take the Bayern Munich job. The Man United job is not a job you want to touch over the next 5 years. I'll be honest with you. That is not an ideal job. The league is really, really competitive. By the way, Man City are coming again. Chelsea are clearly coming again. And if you think Chelsea are done spending, oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. People think the 250 million that was spent this year was a lot. You wait until the end of the season, because this season, remember, Champions League revenue. Last season, the spending was, okay, they didn't spend the season before at all because of the transfer ban, but that was still with Europa League revenue. Oh boy, Roman Abramovich next season expect a 350, 400 million pound investment cycle again. You think, listen, if Mason Mount and these guys and Tammy Abraham think they're going to be around the squad next season, you may see Haaland joining. Chelsea are going to be a mess next season. They are going to bully everybody again. Roman's not having it. He doesn't do second place. It's been 4 years now since the title. By the way, since Roman Abramovich has joined, Chelsea have never gone more than 5 seasons without a title. Roman doesn't accept losing. He is going to come again. Man City, what are they going to do? Come again. And listen, they've spent big this season. They're going to spend big again next season. Man United are already so far behind. Nobody wants to go to United. You're not going to make top 4 this season. So if I'm Poch, I go, I'm going to let this United situation play itself out. Real Madrid's a better job. Bayern Munich or Barcelona's a better job, quite frankly. Right? But the ultimate job is the Bayern Munich job, because what it allows Pochettino to do, get the monkey off the back. Because what's the biggest criticism of Pochettino? Oh, you haven't won anything. Nice football at Southampton, nice football at Tottenham, but when we needed you, where were you? You should have beaten Leicester. Why did you let Leicester win the title? You had Harry Kane, you had all of them. You had Prime Alderweireld, Prime Vertonghen. You were flying. You had Prime Eriksson. You couldn't win. If I'm him, take the easy win. There's nothing wrong, by the way. Take the easy win, take the money, and build a relationship with Rummenigge. By the way, from there, then people start to say, oh, this guy's a winner. Because then you know who needs a manager in 2-3 years' time. Manchester City need a manager. That's a much better job than United. Because you know why Man City's the dream job. Half the expectation at Man United. By the way, there's half the pressure there. Right? And all of the resources. There's all of the resources and a winning culture. At United right now there's some of the resources. There's going to be Europa League. United are a Europa League team now. 4 out of the last 7 seasons, right? Why would you take that job? Honestly, it's career suicide right now for any serious manager. There's what you got to go. You know what the problem with United is you now have to go there, and because you can't just go there and coach. Instead of coaching and instilling your own system, what do you have to go and do? Build a culture. And listen, if you're a sports fan, you know how long that takes. Building a culture can take any time between 2 and 5 years. Look how long it took Fergie to build a culture at United. You must remember it took Fergie 2 or 3 seasons. Fergie was 1 game away until that famous FA Cup victory from being fired. You know why? Because United hadn't won forever. How long did it take Jurgen Klopp? 5 years. You know why? He had to come into Liverpool and it wasn't about tactics and X's and O's and making signings. He had to get rid of losing culture. Building a culture doesn't happen overnight. Anybody who comes to United now is going to have to sacrifice 2 or 3 years. You know why? They're going to have to rebuild an entire culture. Chelsea, even when Roman Abramovich came in the first season, what happened with Ranieri? 5th, 6th, even with 200 million pounds spent. You know why? There was no culture at Chelsea of winning. United's a nightmare job right now because you're not coming to manage. Anybody taking this job is coming to rebuild the culture. Pochettino, I would say no way. I would say no way. In life, my mentor says you get 3 career-limiting moves. The next job for Pochettino defines him. If he doesn't win at his next job, he's really an Argentine Sam Allardyce from there. He's a David Moyes type figure from there. Right? Because for Moyes now, Moyes will never get a top job again. He will never get a top job again. Why? Because when he came to United, it was the end of an era. And what did he have to do? So Moyes couldn't come in there and manage. Vidic was old. Evra was old. Ferdinand was done. It was all over. They were playing Ashley Young basically at right back. Carrick was old, right? Rooney was finished. What was Moyes coming to do? Rebuild a culture. You don't want to do that. You want to come in, all the resources, everything set up in place. Bayern Munich, is there a place in the world where there's a culture? I mean, Pep Guardiola was basically kicked out. They said, we want direct football. The great saying, of course, Mia San Mia. You know what Bayern Munich say? Mia San Mia. We are who we are. You come here, you play direct football. None of this ticker-tacker nonsense. They ran out of patience with the greatest manager of our time in Pep Guardiola. So there's already a culture. You don't have to do that part. Pochettino. Come, everything's ready for you. Who are the 2 or 3 players? We'll give you 2 vanity signings. Alaba's leaving next season, so you can probably get your own centre-back, left-back, and let's get this thing rolling. That's the job I take. No way I take the United job. If I'm his advisors, what I do, the only way I take the United job, world record contract. Pay me my 5-year deal, and you lock that in, because there's a good chance you'll be sacked at United in 2 years. Who's taking Pogba off you? You got to get rid of Lindelof. You got to get people love Wan-Bissaka. I'm not sure he's the modern day right back for 50 million. Who's taking him off you? Fred is your midfield hope. McTominay. Listen to these players. Luke Shaw, who can't stay fit. Not doing it. And by the way, it's crucial for Pochettino. I'll say it one last time. The next career move defines who Pochettino is from here. He doesn't win at his next club. It is over at big clubs for you. Ask David Moyes. Ask Silva, because Silva thought I'd leave Watford for Everton for the big money. Oh, wait, I've got to get there and build a winning culture. Ooh. Ugly. 6 months. Fired. Get the hell out of here. Building a culture is a horrible thing for a manager to do. And by the way, you know why it's an even worse time right now? The owners have no patience now. So you don't get time to build a culture. You got to come in, fix it straight away. So are you gonna come in and get Paul Pogba to work hard? Are you going to come in and tell Luke Shaw it's unacceptable to be overweight and unfit and get injured half the season? Are you going to come in and tell Martial that it's time to grow up and stop punching people when they, provoke you? Are you going to come in and turn Matic into Patrick Vieira? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. The next Man United manager, you got 2 years of rebuilding a culture. Forget about top 4. This season, you forget about it. Pochettino, no way. Stay away from it. It's a landmine. Bayern Munich, take the job. My advice. Love to know what football fans think. But I think the next move is too important for it to be a rebuilding job, because Pochettino's done it twice now. Southampton rebuilt the culture, couldn't win. Tottenham rebuilt the culture a little bit, couldn't win. Now you're going to do another one. And then, once the stigma, because now you become really an Argentine Sam Allardyce. Every club starts to think, if we need to take ourselves from maybe 6 to 8 and we want to go to top 4, he's our guy. But if we want to win, he's not our guy. That's not who you want to be. Go to Bayern Munich. Go to Bayern Munich. That's what I do. That is what I do. All right, let's finish off with some comments here, and I will respond to those. Remember, at MKT, Mike Kilo Tango Inspires on Twitter. Otherwise, Cliff Central Sport, Cliff C Sport on the tweet machine. But I am at MKT Inspires on all social media. By the way, Cliff Central, it is sport at cliffcentral.com. If you'd like to email, send your suggestions, tell me what you hate. If you think my face is ugly, you're welcome to send that as well. By the way, I get that feedback all the time, so you'd be wasting your time. But if you'd like to, just remind me exactly how I'm never going to, be attractive at all, send that. Listen, I need constructive feedback. We all need to grow. Hey, just because I'm offended doesn't mean I'm right. I got to grow from that. If it's constructive, yeah. Tell me what it is about my face you don't like. By the way, remember, click the like button if you like this. Click the dislike button if you don't. If you love the content, be a friend, tell a friend, like, share, subscribe. And that helps us with the algorithm, by the way. So if you are watching, click the like. That would be awesome of you. Please do that. All right, let me take some comments. Singanga85 says, as a United supporter, I find some of the players don't understand what it means to play for United. The jersey is too heavy for them. The lack of passion and drive is disappointing. Oaks show up for 3 or 4 games, and then after that goes back to normal. Singanga, I was saying earlier, not sure if you've been with us since the beginning. People are who they are. And by the way, character only reveals itself when there's adversity. So when you're playing PSG, it's very easy to be the big man and be inspired and rah-rah in the dressing room. What happens when you got Crystal Palace at home? What happens in December when you got 6 injuries and it's raining? What happens when you have to go away to Istanbul for a midweek game and it's tired, the hamstrings are tight, you've had a long week, you got Everton coming up on the weekend? What happens then? This is not a talent thing. By the way, United's not short of talent. They're short of character. Listen, what happened for that first goal against Istanbul and Demba Ba being that far open on his own, where's the leadership? How is that tactically acceptable? There are no victims there. My God, there is a disconnect between Ollie and the players. That's not happening under Keane, Vidic. On the field, by the way, Roy Keane's greatest thing ever, to Singanga's point. Roy Keane, the reason why United were unstoppable under Roy Keane, and you'll never see it again, and under Vidic, Fergie had a second manager on the field. Roy Keane doesn't want to be popular. That hasn't changed. And Roy Keane is a true example of what I've been saying. You are who you are. To lead is not a popularity contest. Pogba wants to be cool. Maguire wants to be liked and be one of the guys. No, I don't want my captain being there. John Terry, I get the hell out of here. Unsavory, slightly unsavory off the field. I don't care. We come to Chelsea, we want to win. We want to win. That's simple as that. Patrick Vieira, do you think he cares? I mean, you look at you remember some of the tapes of him yelling at Thierry Henry, by the way, at Mark Overmars. These are at Dennis Bergkamp. These are some of the greatest talents football has ever seen. Patrick Vieira says, I don't care, Dennis Bergkamp. You better track back. This is Arsenal. Who's doing that at United? Who's making sure that people are last man there? Why is Matic your last man on a counter-attack? Come on now. To Tabo's point, the shirt's too heavy. It's too heavy for them. The pressure of being at United's killing them because there's no leadership. And leadership's not a popularity contest. And stop making your most talented guy your captain. That's not the way. The most expensive. Making Maguire your captain is like, in high school, the guy that owns the soccer ball or the kid with the richest mom who's friends with the coach, right? Who buys the coach lunch and whatever. He's the captain of the team, right? That's always what it is. This is in high school. Like, honestly, it sounds ridiculous. McTominay should be Man United captain. He looks like he's got a bit of steel and he'll stick it in there. Why is he not United captain? I know it might sound crazy, but of all your options, Rashford is not a captain. He's a quiet guy. He wants to get on with his things. McTominay looks a little bit like that British, I'll kick you and I don't care. He doesn't care. He looks to me like the only guy with a bit of steel in that Man United team. I'm not interested in talent. There's enough talent in that United team. Give me character. Singanga, you've nailed it. And you see the character when it's not a big game. That's when I need character. And the shirt's too heavy then. Well said. Tabo Padi says, Pochettino will end up at United eventually. This 2 weeks international break, around this time, sacking usually starts. Watch this space. Ollie will have his last game this weekend against Everton. So, Tabo, I hear you on the sacking thing. If I'm United, I don't sack Ollie now, though. I would use the rest of the season to stabilize, and then let's find our long-term manager. Guys, it's not the manager's fault. Stop blaming the manager if you're United. Because now we've seen that it's the players. You know how I know. It cannot be David Moyes, one of the greatest managers that the Premier League has ever seen. What he did at Everton was near miracle on that budget under Kennerite. It is a near miracle that they were a top 16. So it cannot be him and Jose Mourinho, who's top 3 greatest managers perhaps football's ever seen, definitely top 3 of our time. It cannot be Louis van Gaal, who in the 90s, by the way, inspired a team of kindergartners to win the Champions League. So one of the greatest managers of our time. Now Ollie's, it can't just always be the manager. Folks, let me tell you something. When you get divorced the first time, all right, she was crazy. You know, the girlfriend was crazy or the wife was crazy. She had emotional issues. Okay, I hear you. Let's have some drinks with the boys. Come on, it was her fault. She was crazy. And she, you know what? She was wild. Fair enough. When you get divorced the second time, okay, maybe, you know, the second marriage never works. She had kids from previous marriage. You got a bit of baggage. You weren't in the right place. You got married too soon. When you get divorced a third time, that's a you problem. When you get divorced the third time, that's a you problem. Stop blaming everybody else. Man United players, hello. It can't always be the manager. It can't be the greatest managers of our time 4 times. Come on. Come on, guys. Well, in stats, we call it the common denominator. The median, if you will. What's consistent? The players. Who's been there throughout? The players. It's now the second manager in a row they're going to get sacked. They got Jose Mourinho sacked. The core of this team got Mourinho sacked. Why? Because he was pushing back on them. He was putting pressure. He was demanding. But to win, what must you be? Alex Ferguson. Is there a more demanding man in the history of sport? Do you want to win or do you want to participate? This is Man United. Paul Pogba, boo-hoo. Mourinho's being a bit hard on you. Oh, get rid of the manager. It's the manager's fault. Louis van Gaal, I'm being demanding. Get rid of the manager. Moyes, being demanding. Oh, get rid of the manager. Hello? And by the way, what you're doing at Man United, you may not realize it, and this happens at companies. We all have jobs. We all have bosses that entitle people, right? It's nice to entitle the talented people. We're always nice at the talented people, better-looking people. Paul Pogba's entitled now. The beast is out of the cage. There is no manager at Man United who has a chance to cage that animal again. Folks, after your third divorce, that's a you problem. The dressing room's broken. The culture is broken. You know what the culture is at United now? The players now know is you go over the top of the manager's head and you go straight. They clearly have a direct line to Woodward. Why? We've watched 4 coaches get fired. That's Man United culture now. Right? 1 manager gets fired. Okay, it didn't work. 2 managers get fired. What's going on? 3 managers. 3 of the greatest managers of all time get fired. Folks, let's look at the whole picture, please. We're not children anymore. In no disagreement is it only one side's fault. I don't care what you say. If you get divorced from somebody, right? In every divorce, oh, she was crazy. Listen, you let her be crazy and you stayed with her. So you were a part of the problem. You take some responsibility. Take some responsibility. It's the manager and the players. It's not just the players, but players now, please. Please. I'm with Singang on this one, and I'm with Tabo. You know, the sacking thing, maybe United are wrong, by the way. You've sacked 4 managers now. Maybe your culture is wrong. When are United going to say that? Maybe the move is to keep Ollie long-term even. Say, you know what? We're going to wait out the growing pains. Let's wait out the growing pains. But what we do is empower the manager, because then Paul Pogba knows, right? It's non-negotiable to put an effort. If your hamstring is a little bit tight, you don't get to sit out, because you know what Ollie will do is fire you. If you haven't read Sir Alex Ferguson's book, he says for him in his time, it was always important to have what? Control. Control. In Fergie's contract, he inserted whenever a player gets a contract that is the highest paid at the club, Fergie became the highest paid at the club. He would match the highest earner at the club. Non-negotiable. Control. Right now, if you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Paul Pogba's on what? 600,000 a week. What are you telling him? Because like training a puppy, folks, when you train a puppy not to wee in the house, what do? Puppy, nose in the wee that's on the carpet. No. You don't train a pit bull when he's 3. It's too late. It's too late. Listen, ladies, gentlemen, when your boyfriend or girlfriend moves in and they leave socks on the floor for the first 6 months, it's over. They cook an oily meal. It's all over the stove, and you don't stop that behavior in the first 6 months. And now there's hair in the shower. Yeah, there's hair everywhere, all over the house. There's beetroot on the couch. There's snacks. You don't stop these monsters who eat in bed. I've never got that. You don't stop that behavior in the first 6 months, you're done. Paul Pogba now has been entitled. And Ed Woodward will fire the coach rather than get rid of players. How do I know that? I've watched it happen with 4 managers. Tabo, I'm afraid just firing the manager is not always the answer. At some stage, you have to say it's the players. At some stage. You have to. Folks, accountability. Please, there are no victims in life. The players must stop acting like victims. You're overpaid at this stage. But if you're a United fan and you're happy with top 6, I guess, all right, I can't do anything about that. Mark Francis says, if United lose against Everton, I reckon they will even make a call to Pito. Hey, why not? The man's now at the biggest club in Africa. Why not? Pito's a serial winner, guys. One thing you'll have is a guy that'll be demanding. Pito's big time, guys. Huh? Let's love our own. Let's not have self-hate. Mark Francis. Oh, man. Tabo says, granted, no manager should take the United job right now. It's Ollie's mess. He must fix it. But correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Moyes lose his job at United around this time? No, because remember, Moyes had 6 months. Ollie's had 18. Or he's going to have 18, I think, once it's done. Moyes had 6 months. So maybe you mean, at this time of year. I think it was, well, if it's 6 months, it was just after January, wasn't it, when he got sacked? And then Giggs took over for the rest of the season. It was after the January transfer window. I remember that. So it wasn't quite at this time. Moyes had 6 months. How scary is that? Yeah, but you can't bring Fellaini as your first signing. I'm afraid not. Oof, no good. But anyway, it can't always be the manager's fault. And Tabo, I hear you. I mean, as a United fan, maybe you think it's the manager. Let's take the Real Madrid approach and just keep sacking the manager. Mark Francis says, Singanga 85. Don't forget to register for the Zoom Global United counseling session. My God, Mark Francis is loving it. Because for 30 years, by the way, Liverpool didn't win a title. It must be good to be a Liverpool fan. It must be so good. They are rubbing it in. Singanga says, I've accepted what United is. I appreciate the suggestion, though. Deary. Listen, Singanga, acceptance is the first step to recovery. Mark Francis says, a buy-in for Poch is an interesting move. I agree that. I agree with that, but I think that Poch wants to prove something in the EPL. He may not be willing to make a move somewhere else. Here's the thing. By the way, we always make short-sighted moves, right? Everybody, we're all like this, especially in times of panic. What I've been taught by my elders, and because I did it in my teens and 20s, and I always made a decision when I was panicked. Never, ever make a move in life, especially big moves, when you're in the fear and the panic. Very rarely does that go well. So Poch now, out of desperation, I have to prove a point. You know what that is? That's ego. If Pochettino goes to Bayern Munich 2 or 3 seasons, wins maybe a league, a double, and who knows? I mean, Bayern Munich are always at the top end of the Champions League, right? He goes and does that. His image is remade. That's a long-term success because then every Premier League club... Listen, the Premier League will always be rotating managers. Don't think Frank Lampard's going to last 10 years. Chelsea will need a manager at some stage very soon. We know Roman Abramovich. Man City don't keep managers for long. Pep Guardiola's cycle will end in the next 2-3 years. I think it might end at the end of this season. Right? So Man City aren't keeping people around. Jurgen Klopp's cycle isn't going to be 10 years. It's going to be another 2 or 3 years. There's a job that's going to be available. So don't worry about the Liverpool jobs being available. Worry about the long term of your career is what I'd do if I'm Pochettino. Take the United job now and your ego. Of course, you know, as I can only speak for men, not women, but as men, we always need to prove a point now. I need to win now. Mentor of mine has a very same mentor I've been speaking about all night. She says, stop worrying about being right. Get it right. And I know that sounds like the same thing. It is not. You know, as men, we love to be at braais and we don't like to Wikipedia things and we want to be right. Yeah, but this guy played for the Lions, even though the guy played for the Bulls. No, he played for the Lions. And then, he played for the Lions and then it becomes an echo chamber. No, you're right. Turned out the guy's played for the Bulls. I mean, how many times have you been around that situation? As Pochettino, step away and say, what's the right next career move? Because if the United thing doesn't go well, how do we view Pochettino then? He's a guy who can't win. He's a serial bridesmaid. Listen, what happens if it comes? Can't get rid of Pogba, the COVID market. Remember, next season, we don't know what the COVID market's going to be. We don't know what budgets are going to be. And United aren't going to be in the top 4. What happens if the culture's still awful? Pochettino, it could go Mourinho way. By the way, Pochettino is very much like Mourinho. Extremely demanding. extremely demanding, right? What has Man United shown over the last seven years? If the players don't like the manager, they go to Woodward. He's gone. I don't know if I want that. You go to Bayern Munich, remake your image, right? And then you can always come back. The Premier League's not going anywhere. Everton have got big money. You can come back to that job. Don't panic. As Pochettino, I wouldn't dare take a Premier League job right now. There isn't a great Premier League job right now. And sometimes, by the way, in your absence, your value grows. So let the Premier League teams panic for 2 or 3 seasons. Let the merry-go-round happen, and let things settle in 2 or 3 seasons. Because the Man City job hasn't sorted itself out. Pep's got two more years. The Klopp thing's not lasting forever. Chelsea's not lasting forever. Abramovich has shown. What's his pattern? Lampard doesn't win the title next season. He's out of there. Chelsea's a great job because you get all the resources on planet Earth. And by the way, there's a winning culture at Chelsea. Abramovich does not accept losing. So you don't have to worry about coming to Chelsea and having to set a new culture. Klopp now, that'll be a great job to take over because now with John W. Henry and how Thomas Werner has run Liverpool, winning culture. All you got to come in, a few vanity signings, X's and O's, we're off. You come into, imagine getting the Chelsea job in 2 seasons. It's one of the best young squads in the world. Lampard's got a really hard job. He's got to wait for the teething pains. Imagine Pochettino gets that job in 2 years. Havertz is now 24, 25. Pulisic is now 23, 24. Werner's 26, 27 and at his apex. Ziyech is still only 30 at his absolute apex. Zuma's now 25, not making those mistakes. Reece James is 23, 24. Chilwell's 27, 28 only. Mendy's only 30, going into his prime as a goalkeeper. That's the job to take. At Man United, who's at his prime now? Martial, I don't know what I got there. Pogba, I know what I got. Don't want any part of that. Man United's best player is Matic. Oh, best midfielder at least. Daniel James, I don't know what I got there. Wan-Bissaka, good defensively. He crosses the halfway line. He gets a nosebleed. He's not Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's not Reece James. He's not Tariq Lamptey. He's not. And by the way, listen. It's nice that you can defend, but we're losing a hell of a lot of games. Can you maybe do something going forward? That's what the modern day forward. So if you're a United manager now, it's a nightmare. Luke Shaw can't stay fit. He's overweight. Hamburger on legs. Is that the job you want to take? Where Matic, a 31-year-old cart horse, is your best player. Juan Mata is your most creative player. You got Bruno Fernandes. We'll see where that goes. But I hate to tell you, Bruno Fernandes is not Toni Kroos. He's not Luka Modric. No, sir. So sometimes you got to look at what does the job look like coming in. Do you want to come and work for a rinky-dink bank? Or do you want to go and work at Merrill Lynch? At Investec? Is that you choose. Bayern Munich is working at Investec. Everything's ready to go. Come in. And almost if you mess up at Investec and you're in the banking space, that's your fault. That's not their fault. Everything's ready. We got culture. We got offices. We got resources. We got an international market for you to get into. You can't be a banker. You can't be an investment banker. You can't be a chartered accountant at Investec. That's on you. But if you go to a rinky-dink bank where there's no canteen for staff, the IT department, your system's always down, that's Man United right now. You don't go there. If I'm Poch, there's no way. There's no way. If he takes it, it's a risky job. Told you up front. Mark Francis says, your face is not ugly. It is just not pretty. No, fair enough. That's very, very nice of you to say. It's not horrendous. It's awful. Yeah, there's a compliment in there somewhere if I drill into it. Mark Francis, typical Liverpool fans. Love the banter. Love the banter. My gosh, there are a few comments. All right, let's get through it. Gushenkosi says, there is no leadership on the field. I presume you're talking about United. You two right there, Gushe. Tabo says, Mbulelo said it best. There's a lack of character at United, hence the inconsistency. How do you explain beating PSG and Leipzig and then that horrendous display last night? You guys are saying it, and you guys are United fans. You'll know better than me. Gushe once again saying, for United, it's not just the players, it's the board and the owner. It's a 3-year cycle. Poch or whoever is next going to face the same problem. The board won't spend the money in the second season. All right. So one might say, a friend of mine who's in the investment space, massive United fan, he said it to me. He said, the problem with United is the divergent tactics of the football side and the board. The board is interested in finances. The football side wants to do football. But ultimately, you need the two to be together. You see that at Man City. You see that at Liverpool. I'd say they're the two best cultures in English football right now. So it's a brilliant thing. And I guess he's referring to they wouldn't back Mourinho in the second season. Oli made Champions League. Perhaps United fans are feeling he wasn't back properly this season. But Guhle, let me tell you what's worrying about that, by the way, Mr. Nkosi, is that like they did with Pochettino at Spurs, you know what United are telling you? We like Oli, we don't love him. Because if you want to marry somebody, you don't think twice. By the way, if the girl of your dreams, you've been together with her for 4 years, and she says, I want a ring on it, or I'm moving out tomorrow. Oh my goodness. You guys, you know this. Everyone's been in this. And I'm speaking strictly for men, by the way. You are moving a hell on earth to meet her family, to ensure that the father knows that I am proposing to your daughter tomorrow. If she's the one, you don't have to think about it, right? And by the way, you know what crisis does beautifully? It brings clarity. There's crisis at United now. The United board are telling you, Ollie's not our guy. Because if he was the guy, what did Tottenham do as soon as Pochettino left? They gave Mourinho all the money. Mourinho's got all the money. By Daniel Levy standards, all the money. You know what he's telling you is, oh no, Mourinho's a guy who can take us across the Rubicon. I think Man United are telling you, Ollie, you're actually just a transition phase. We're waiting for somebody to open up. Maybe a Zidane. Maybe we'd like him to open up. Or maybe we're waiting for Poch. So maybe that's what they're telling you. And Guche's onto something here. They're saying, we like you. We like dating you. But I'm not introducing you to my mother. That's what Man United is saying to Ollie. Because corporate companies have a language. It's called money. When they give you money, the language is, we love you, money. Guche, great point. Tabo says, the board as well. What do you see on the pitch is exactly a reflection of how the entire club is run. The Glazers should sell the club. Why has it taken this long for Woodward to get a director of football? That's a good point. That is a great point. Wow, lots of United fans here saying we are not happy. Sanganga85 saying, I agree with the growing pains point. It's just something we have to face up to. Getting rid of Oli doesn't solve anything. Then United just becomes one of these clubs that changes managers when the going gets tough. Bro, the United stock price hasn't dropped since Fergie retired. The brand is too big. It's dumb to sell the club. I don't think the owners are concerned with what's going on the field. The money is still coming in. Wow, this is brutal for United fans. If you're a United fan, this must be like a Japanese sword to your heart. Brutal. This is like being dumped on your birthday, huh? It's rough stuff if you're a United fan right now. Singanga dropping some bombs here. Guchen Kosi saying, I don't know how Poch is being viewed as a world-class manager. He hasn't won anything yet. So Guchen, I don't know how long you've been with us. You see, this is what I think the image of Poch is. Yeah, you've done a nice job. Yeah, you play nice football. But give us some results. Talent's nice. Winning's even better. Pretty is nice. I said it yesterday if you didn't watch the show. Some people are girlfriend material. Some people are wife material. You know, there's a difference. The girlfriend's nice. You go out. She's beautiful. She's young. You want to take her to braais or barbecues with your friends. And look how beautiful my girlfriend is. Arm candy. That's great. But when somebody's wife material, when you're sick, when the children are sick, how you know? In crisis. Because you know what your wife will do that your girlfriend will never do because she's into the lifestyle. Your wife will take the kids to the hospital when they're sick and you're at work. Your wife, when you're sick, when your business fails for the 5th time, you know what the wife does? She sticks with you. That's the difference between wife and girlfriend material. I totally agree. I think Poch right now is more in that girlfriend material role. And I think Guche is alluding to that to say, I'm not sure if he's the guy. Which is why I'm saying if I'm Poch, I don't take the United job at the moment. Because it's really just a Tottenham job with a little bit of a budget. You got to come and rebuild a culture. You're not coming to United to win. Which is why I say, take the Bayern Munich job. Go and rebuild your image because you'll definitely win at Bayern Munich. Stay 3 years at Bayern Munich. You'll at least win the league once or twice there, right? You'll win the cup And then people say, okay, at least he's now taken it. He knows what it's like to operate in an environment where he has to win. You remake your image, you come back. People don't say, hey, there's only one team in Germany. They say, you're a German league champion. They count the trophies. So go and learn how to win. For Poch, go and learn in a nice environment how to win. There's no real pressure at Bayern Munich, right? There's big pressure in the Champions League, yes, but you'll still get 2 or 3 years because you'll win locally and win the cup. Great point by Uguche there. Tabo says, that's why the club has lost its principles. It's money first. That's why they have a banker signing players. The whole structure is wrong. It's business. I get it. But come on. Football put them there. Great point. Ryan Alex Ferreira says, hey, crazy idea. Maybe how about Man United wait for Pep to be available? Not sure if he would touch that United position. From what I heard, Sir Alex was hoping Pep would replace him when he retired, if only. Hey, remember what the Man United dilemma was? It is true, but remember, Pep had just come off the Barcelona cycle. He took the year off because he promised his wife after that it was too stressful, of course, in those the Catalunya times. He promised his wife, as the story goes, that they would take a year off. And even then, they would separate themselves from the football. He spent a year in New York. So that is true, I believe, from what I've read, that Fergie wanted... Moyes was the second choice. But Pep had already decided that it was time to be off. And he already promised his wife that they were going to take a year to go and learn. Number one, for him to learn English. It looks like the City job had already actually been set up. Because if you looked at how Serrano had moved in at Man City, they were already setting up a Catalan board at Man City. Pellegrini was really walking the plank even in his last season. Even if Pellegrini had won the treble, it was over for him because they were already setting the board up at City. By the way, interesting thing about being fired. By the way, you're not fired the day they fire you. You're fired 2-3 years before they fire you. Before anyone talks, they fired you. Pellegrini was out 2 years before. That's how real companies do it. Not like United are doing it now. It feels like United are guessing right now. I think Ryan's making a great point. The Pep thing is going to be tough. Because what does Pep want? Champions League. Number one, Pep's not taking over Europa League team. Please. Ryan, between you and me, Man United are not making Champions League this year. There's no COVID to save them, to wait for Martial and Rashford to be fit again, and so that Leicester can fall off and Chelsea can fall off. Forget it. I've seen enough, right? There is nobody in January you can buy to make the squad better. Cavani is your best. Cavani and Igalo are your parachute. No, sir. No, sir. No. So I think Ryan's made, but there's no chance. Number one. And you know what Pep wants to do? At every club, what's he done? One straight away. One season off at United or at City. And then what? 300 million pounds. Thank you very much. Get out. We win. And then in the second season, what does he do? He wins the clean sweep in England. Pep Guardiola is not coming to rebuild the culture anywhere. That's not his thing. You look at the clubs Pep has had. Barcelona didn't have to rebuild the culture. He already understood it inside out. Nobody understands it better. Is there a stronger culture in football? Probably not. Look how he picked his next job. What was the next job? Possibly the only other club that could compete for culture in the world, Bayern Munich. So Pep's not coming to rebuild the culture. When I come to coach. Listen. I want to listen. He loves culture, right? You read Pep's books. He loves the concerts. Pep is not coming to play the violin. By the way, he's not coming to be the guy playing the violin in the back and trying to get a culture amongst the orchestra. No, sir. He's not playing the flute. You know what Pep's doing? He's the conductor. I'm coming to, and you know what conductors do, right? Is I conduct. At the end, by the way, fold my page, and I'm the hell out of here. I'm the maestro, and I'm drinking cocktails with all the patrons. I'm not the violinist who has to catch a cab home. Pep's not doing that. I'm not coming to teach Pogba how to be a professional. Get the hell out of here. You know who I work with? Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol. You know who I work with? Alaba, Mueller, Lam. That's who I work with. You know who I work with? Vincent Kompany, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. That's who I work with. Kun Aguero. I don't work with Instagram stars. Forget it. There's no chance. There is no. Ryan, hate to break your heart. Hate to break your heart. I'm working on self-awareness and being sensitive right now. I understand 2020. Listen, this COVID thing's been rough for everyone. But Ryan, forget that. Get that out of your head. Pep Guardiola, there is nothing United could offer Pep that he would take right now. Listen, do not count out Pep Guardiola, by the way, now that Leo Messi has wrestled all of the political power, because these big European clubs are about political power, right? At Real Madrid, what do you always see? The two presidents fighting it out. It was Calderon before, his biggest enemy, Florentino Perez. It is always a presidential thing. It's about political power. There's all sorts of games there. Now Messi has that. Expect Messi to build the last 2 years as he sees them fit. Do not count out Pep Guardiola. I'm going home. What is it? Alicia Keys? I'm coming home. Folks, Man United, it's rough. Pochettino, don't take the job. Don't do it. Hey, you could have been anywhere tonight with anybody. You chose to be with me. Remember, push the like button if you enjoyed tonight. If you didn't, by the way, share this and say, hey, this guy needs to go to hell. I like constructive feedback. I like it. I like to, listen to people. About the people. But please, since you are the people, before you shut down the stream, push the like button, because that helps us with the algorithm. We want to build a special platform, and without you, it's impossible. Love to hear what you think, by the way. sport@cliffcentral.com. That's my email. Otherwise, at MKT, Mike Kilo Tango, at MKT Inspires on Instagram and Twitter. Hit me up. sport@cliffcentral.com, MKT Inspires on Twitter and the gram. Push the like button. You guys are awesome. These comments have been absolutely awesome. Mark Francis, appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you subscribe. That'll help us as well. Push like. You guys are awesome. You're absolutely awesome. You could have been anywhere. Looking at my 3.5 face, 3.5 out of 10 face. For the podcast listeners, thank goodness you don't have to listen to that. By the way, the podcast will be updated within the next month and a half. Don't worry about that. Latest episodes are being uploaded currently as we speak. You can catch that wherever you get your podcasts. That will be fixed very, very soon. But for those watching on YouTube, I'm sorry that this is the face you get, but I appreciate you for pushing like, for subscribing and sharing, and some of the feedback has been fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am MKT. That is Gareth Cliff. This is the MKT Show. We are the hell out of here.